Well, welcome in, everyone, to the High School Power Hour. I'm Charles Pulliam with the Williamson Herald. Happy to come on to you live here. This is our third show, but we're excited because we are here. It's live. It's go time. It's week 2. In the house, joining me here, Coach Will Hester, formerly of Ravenwood. Coach, so happy to have you here. This is gonna be fun, I think.
Oh, I think it definitely is. To be able to talk high school football, kind of getting me the opportunity to live vicariously through all these other teams tonight. I'm excited to spend the evening with you.
How about it, right? I mean, again, week 2, so many great games out there for all our listeners out there. This is the High School Power Hour brought to you by Matthews Team Sports. Our guy, Tate Matthews, will help kick us off here about the 10 o'clock hour there as we get more of these finals coming through here. But super excited. Great show lined up here. A couple great guests on the way, too. Later on, we're going to hear a little bit. We're actually going to dip out of football just a hair. We're going to chat with Daisy Oatsfall of Brentwood High School, a contending team for the state volleyball championship. We do have a confirmed guest on the BGA side of things. Coach Bobby Bentley is going to join us, of course, later on in this hour as well, too. But just happy to have all our listeners out there. And, man, Coach, I tell you, there's a couple games out there obviously going on here. Anything kind of stand out to you a little bit right now? I know we're watching a few of those. One of those might be that Ravenwood game, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great one. On the Eastern time zone, this Rayburn Gap Baylor game, Baylor just takes the lead here late in that one, 38-35, I think. And then a 58-yard field goal from old Tommy Baccaro at Brentwood Academy kind of jumps off the page as something exciting tonight.
58 yards. That's the thing. One of those guys that we've seen for a long time there. But 24-14 was that halftime score, Brentwood and BA. Looking forward to seeing how things go there. It was 21-0 at one point in that game. So the Brentwood Bruins able to get some action going there late in the first half. Baccaro, of course, a 58-yarder. That's one of those legs that, I mean, as a former coach, you got to love to have a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the sideline for a 55, so that 58, that's a long way. He's kicking that thing from the logo, so.
Again, my name's Charles. Really excited to have you all here. I'm the sports editor at the Williamson Herald. One of the things I got to do, too, is actually, I know my dad's going to be tuning in here, and this is kind of special. So I started out in radio, y'all, and it was all the way up in Alaska doing high school basketball and things like that. Check this out, Coach. Small schools broadcasting and promotions all the way up in AK. This was my dad's original business, and I think he tricked me onto being in the air about 17 years old, high school senior. It was like, hey, come sit by me. We'll watch the game. And he'd turn my mic up, and that's how I'd get on.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
But had to bring the old small school shirt out, represent Alaska a little bit, and just super pumped up. Coach, I want to, before we really dive into some of these great games as we get caught up here, as we got some games, winding down here, but Coach, you are in the admin side at a pretty familiar area here too, Brentwood Middle. Tell us a little bit about what this year's been like for you and what this this transition's been like. I mean, coaching football for 25 plus years goes a long way. Obviously, winning a couple titles, so much success. And here we get to see roaming the hallways at the middle school where, if I'm not mistaken, you attended, right?
I did. It's been cool. It's kind of coaching teachers now more than coaching football players, right? But it's been good to be around the middle school kids. Different age group for me. I never really worked in the middle school. All my career was in the high school. But it's been awesome to be around those kids. Obviously, still learning the job, if you will, only a month in. But I've really, really enjoyed it. They've kind of welcomed me with open arms and excited to start this next phase of my career.
Gotta say, too, I know we're in week 2 here, but these last few weeks, what's that kind of been like for you not being on a sideline in film study and all these different things with practices and like? I mean, just tell us what that feeling's kind of been like, what that transition's been for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fine. I mean, the things you miss the most are the time with the kids and the time in the coach's office before practice, after the games, and just kind of the camaraderie, those relationships, right? Don't miss the headaches that come along with being a head coach and all the things and dealing with the things that aren't fun to deal with, right? Obviously, the games are fun and the relationships are fun, but there's a lot of things that aren't great about it, and just like with any leadership position. So excited to not be dealing with that stuff and living kind of vicariously through all my friends that are out still doing it, and a lot of great relationships in the coaching world, and able to root for all those guys now instead of rooting against them.
It's a lot of fun because obviously being so knowledgeable of everything, following suit, having all these coaches that you follow, all these teams and now you get to kind of step back and almost be that fan, and that's got to be neat. I still think of even just last week with having Coach Ricky Rodriguez come on the show, chat a little bit about the comeback win in Mississippi. They beat Madison Ridgeland Academy last week, 28-24. But when you think about that and just what it was like, it's a big trip. This is that team going on the road. They went on a Thursday night. And I know when you were part of that scheduling, but to just get to watch and kind of hang out now and sit back, you don't have to worry about who's in the hallways or anything like that. That had to be pretty fun.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, Coach Davis, the head coach of MRA, he and I go way back, and his son was actually a member of our staff at Ravenwood, and still is. He's
it was
the
the
offensive
Davis
coordinator
Bowl
now.
there, yeah.
Yeah, the Davis Bowl for sure. And so it was cool to get to see that. How often does a dad get to be across the sideline from his son in a high-stakes game like that? Two great programs. And so that was cool to watch from afar. And now you got a game that I don't think's ever happened before, right? Lipscomb Academy and Ravenwood High School. So that's another opportunity. And then you got Green Hill and Ravenwood next week, which is be a first time those teams have played each other. So a lot of firsts on the schedule.
Well, when you mentioned that too, so we are in the fourth quarter here. Ravenwood playing at Lipscomb Academy. That's a 14-7 score right now. 8:35 left in that ball game. I got that one up. Watching it, obviously, there's a lot of games out there to be paying attention to. We mentioned the Brentwood Academy one. That's still 24-14. One of those ones you did mention there too was that Page Green Hill one, and that was one after last week, Green Hill opening with a nice win against Beach. I think it was 38-21. Things looked good. Cannon Burrows, of course, coming back, a solid guy there. And, Page went to Giles County, picked up a good W there. They allowed more points than I think they did all of last season. But, hey, it's week one. Things are a little different. They ended up winning 47-34. That's 34-7 right now, Page over Green Hill. That's just one of those numbers that I think that's a score that really jumps out to me, Coach.
Oh, it does, absolutely. Beach prides itself on being a super physical football team, and to see Green Hill kind of match that physicality and put it on them. Now you flip on over to the next week and you see the Giles County score. Well, now look at Giles County right now. Last time I looked at it was up on Henry County. So that's obviously a good Giles County football team that we didn't know a whole lot about going into last week, but scored a lot of points on Page. And sometimes I think, you go through the whole season last year, giving up no points in the regular season or whatever it was, very few,
first
right?
6 or 7 games.
Yeah, wild. So I think sometimes it's good to, give up a few, and now we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
Now we're just on the playing football, and obviously they're playing well tonight.
Yes, and like you said too, on that front, this is a team that has a lot of new offensive pieces. Obviously, you still got an Isaac Odie, a couple of those guys, Colt Brown. You got guys that we know, that offensive line with Rathbone and all and Curl and having Sloan come in there too. This is a team, but in terms of just starting to churn that offensive machine that they can be, you debuted a new quarterback. You got a great backup QB. It was really right to that last minute if you're going with Drew or Cameron Cruz. And I think that it just shows that this team could probably put up a lot of points. And sure enough, they're doing it again right now in week 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's not every day that you have to graduate Brendan Ains and Eric Hazard, right? I mean, there's a lot of production and, 2 guys that are playing major college football now. So it's good to see them kind of doing it a different way maybe.
Another intriguing Williamson County score when you think about looking out there, one of these fun cross-classification matchups here. Centennial leading Fairview 35-14, start of the fourth quarter. That's one of those kind of interesting ones. Coach Jay Graham, the new coach at Centennial, coming in, looking for that first W. He had a great shootout essentially with Mitchell Grangine, former Page quarterback, last year. Mitchell and the Cougars battled Stewart's Creek, ended up falling 39-36 in week 1, but at the same time here they come back. They're on their field. They got a feisty Fairview team led by Chris Hughes coming in there. And this, not bad scoring-wise here, but sure enough, they could put up some points here, I think, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Centennial's been right there in 5A the last several years, and Chris Hughes has always got his team playing well. Especially, be interesting to see how they make noise in the 3A ranks. And,
Yep.
But they've always played really, really well, and Coach Hughes, loves that community, loves that program, and has done a great job of continuing for them to have success over the long term.
Jumping into some of that Metro side of things, a fun cross-classification matchup again here. Antioch and East Nashville playing it out. So right now, end of the third, initially I saw it was 21-16. East Nashville had the lead. Antioch comes right back. Andre Adams taking care of things there. Andre, of course, it seems like he's been the QB there forever. And so they take a 24-21 lead. He ran in a 2-point conversion as well. So a big one there for Coach Broom and the guys to start that fourth quarter. And the Bears leading East Nashville 24-21 right now.
Yeah, back and forth. I mean, a lot of expectations for those two Metro schools this year. Obviously, East is been really good for a long time, but Coach Broom's done a great job at Antioch of kind of keeping rolling what was started by Devin Arnold and those guys a few years ago, and obviously great quarterback play is where it all begins, right? And Adam sure is that.
One of the other big games we're obviously paying a lot of attention to, and it's a fun one too. You got a Division II-A versus Division II AAA. So the largest classification against one of those smaller ones, Nashville Christian, Ensworth. This is one of those showdowns. So many guys that we're going to be looking forward to watching on Saturdays coming up here too. That one, a recent score here in the fourth. Ensworth, I think, is leading, 27-26 now. Yeah, okay. So Curtis, again, Jared Curtis, everybody knows the name now. Another big rushing touchdown for him. He had the first two scores, but a 27-26 game, that's going to come down to the wire now.
Yeah, I wonder if Superman's cape has come out the back of Jared's shoulder pads, right? I mean, obviously, quite possibly one of the best players in the country, right? And so it's a lot for a single A team to be competing with a triple A team in that D2 league. I mean, there's a lot of differences in the, let's just say, the financial resources and all the things that go along with, stepping up two classifications. And wow, when you got a great player like that and great players making big plays in big games, right? What a game for Jared Curtis on the big stage.
E.J. Gibson for Ensworth, a good night for him, too. He scored 2 touchdowns, had a 6-yard run to close that third quarter, and that gave Ensworth a 27-20 lead. So, again, 27-26. An update on that, too, was Curtis did score on a 2-yard run, but Ensworth blocked the PAT. So that's the difference right now in that one. About 9 minutes to play. Obviously, one of those big, big local games. Really looking forward to seeing how things stack up on that one, too. Coach, I'm telling you, man, this is just fun kind of going through, looking at some updates, seeing how things happen. I got a score update on the Page Green Hill one. Green Hill's actually put up a couple TDs now. That's 34-21 in that one. So excited to see some of these finals coming in. Before we go to our first break here on the High School Power, I want to mention the Thursday night results. And one of those that really stood out too was a Blackman 42-6 winners over Cane Ridge. And the Blaze defense for Coach Matt Kreisky there, Coach, they allowed 60 yards of offense. That's it.
Yeah. They're good, especially up front on the defensive side of the ball. Their defensive line is great. And another score that I'm looking at right here that's interesting to me is, Smyrna Brentwood last week was a tight one.
Oh, yeah.
Hendersonville and Smyrna in a close one, 20-17. Hendersonville with a few minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Oh,
so
man.
another great game here in Middle Tennessee tonight.
I tell you, there's so many to watch here, so many exciting ones. A couple more finals from Thursday. Stewart's Creek beat Stratford 49-18. Mount Pleasant over Zion Christian 40-0. And Providence Christian Academy beat Cannon County 42-13. That one's been going on for a long time, too. There's a couple really fun ones out there, big matchups overall. Obviously, you got that neighborhood battle, Brentwood and Brentwood Academy. We're watching that one kind of wind down here, too. There's Coffee County and Tullahoma. How many times has those guys played? Forever, it seems like. But some just fun matchups here. But, again, I still kind of stuck on this Ensworth-Nashville Christian one because this is just one of those games you don't get to see very often. And sure enough, it is just one that I almost want to just watch to the finish here. Final 9 minutes, still 27-26 in that one. Coach, when you kind of think about overall, before we go to this first break, one of the other ones, I almost forgot, we got to go to Pearl Conan CPA and see how things are going too, but thinking...
In the fancy uniforms.
Right, yeah. Your You're Ravenwood guys. Tell us this game, going to Lipscomb Academy in week 2, you win on the road. They got a couple road games to start here. What do you see from the Raptors in coming out of this one, and what do they need to do to get the W at Lipscomb Academy?
Know where Campbell Evans is, I think, is a big key. I mean, I think their first touchdown of the game was a big Mossing-type touchdown for him at the end of the half. So we'll see if they can hold on there, but they got to know where Cam is.
Yep, gotcha. Well, hey, let's step aside. We're going to get some more of those scores. We're going to come back with some more updates here, obviously, too. This is the High School Power Hour on 104.5 The Zone. I'm Charles. I got Coach Will Hester with me here. Excited to have you. This show, of course, brought to you by Matthews Team Sports. Let's step aside for our first break here. We'll be back for more here on the High School Power Hour.